Once upon a time, in a cozy kitchen nestled between towering trees, there lived the tiniest chef whose name was Chef. Every morning when the sun peeked through the window, Tiny Chef would wake up, stretch his arms and legs, and yawn widely. And today was no different. As he opened his eyes, he glanced at the little heart-shaped calendar hanging on his wall. It had a huge heart drawn on it with a red marker. And when he turned the page, oh my goodness, he saw another giant heart right on the date. It's a very special day. Chef's best friend has a birthday today. Tiny Chef immediately jumped out of his comfy mushroom-shaped bed. He tiptoed to the kitchen counter and grabbed a little recipe scroll. On it was written the words, "Birthday Donut Cake." He knew exactly what he had to do. Tiny Chef decided to make a birthday donut cake to surprise them. First, he needed some flour. So he went over to this adorable cupboard where all of his ingredients were stored. He walked over to the shelf where the flour was kept and pretended to be a little construction worker dumping the flour into his basket. Next, he gathered eggs from his 2 pet chickens who clucked happily while he collected their eggs. After that, he went back to his counter and picked up the sugar. And finally, the most important ingredient, the sprinkles. He put on his little gardening gloves, climbed up the ladder and picked a few handfuls of sprinkles from the sprinkle tree. It was time to get baking. Chef hummed a little tune as he poured all of the ingredients into a big bowl. He grabbed a whisk and started stirring everything together. Whoops! A giant cloud of flour flew everywhere, covering the entire room. Chef giggled, sneezed and continued stirring until everything was perfectly blended. Then he grabbed the jar of sprinkles and shook it so that they would mix. But whoops again, the sprinkles flew in every direction. Chef watched as they created a beautiful arch in the air and landed on the walls, the ceiling, even his pet chickens. He laughed and said, "My very own rainbow explosion." After collecting all the sprinkles, he poured the batter onto the counter. Then he carefully placed the donut molds on the counter. He poured a bit of the batter into each mold and then pressed them down with his little spatula. Next, he preheated the oven, which looked like a tiny stove to him. He put on his oven mitts and slid the tray with the donuts into the oven. The whole kitchen smelled like sweet cinnamon and deliciousness. While the donuts baked, Chef rummed family through his recipe book. He needed to find the most spectacular candle for the cake. Suddenly, he gasped. Oh, no, he completely forgot to buy the candle. He put on his jacket, grabbed his basket and headed out the door. He skipped through the forest, following a little dirt path. He stopped by his friend Beaver's house. excuse me," he called out. "Beaver, are you home?" But Beaver wasn't home. He continued walking until he reached Squirrel's house. "Squirrel, Squirrel, are you there?" he asked. "I need a candle for my friend's birthday cake, something really special." "Sorry, Chef," said Squirrel. "I'm just about to bury some acorns for the winter." He sighed and continued on his way, feeling a little sad. As he walked past the willow tree, he heard a soft voice. "Can I help you, Chef?" It was Firefly, sitting on a leaf. "I saw you looking for something," she said. "Yes," Chef replied, "but I think my search is over. No one wants to help me." "Well, why don't you come over here?" Firefly asked. She led Chef to a hollowed-out part of the tree. Inside, she had the most beautiful candle he had ever seen. It was made out of wax and sparkle. "Oh, it's perfect," Chef exclaimed. He thanked Firefly and hurried home. When he arrived, he took the donuts out of the oven and let them cool off a bit. Then he carefully stacked them on top of each other until he made a magnificent donut cake. He placed Firefly's magical candle on top and took it over to his friend's house. As he knocked on the door, he decorated the outside with more sprinkles. Soon, his friends came out, each wearing their fanciest party hat. They all cheered and clapped when they saw the amazing donut cake. When Chef's best friend saw it, they gasped and hugged Tiny Chef. "It's the best birthday present ever," they said. Together, they carried the cake inside and placed it on the table. Tiny Chef and his friends sang a happy birthday song and made a wish. Then they dug in. Each donut was filled with a delicious chocolate and cream filling, and the sprinkles tasted like pure magic. After the cake, they played games, told jokes and opened presents. One by one, the guests began to leave. "Thank you, Chef, for the wonderful day," said one of the friends. "It was the best birthday ever," added another. Chef waved goodbye to everyone. He felt warm and fuzzy inside, knowing that his best friend had such an amazing day. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, Chef blew out the candle. He made a wish that his friend would always feel as happy as they did today. As he snuggled into his cozy mushroom bed, he thought about the day. It made him so happy to see his best friend enjoy the birthday cake. He loved surprising them and making them smile. That's what being a good friend was all about. The next morning, Chef woke up early. He yawned, stretched and peeked at the calendar. The heart was gone. It was just another day. But for Tiny Chef, every day was special because he had friends to love and care for. He hopped out of bed, put on his little apron and got to work. He baked bread for the woodland creatures, made fruit smoothies for his pet chickens, and even prepared a special treat for himself. As he sipped his smoothie, he thought about all the fun they would have in the days to come. In the afternoon, he invited all his friends over for a picnic. They played tag, told stories and laughed until their bellies hurt. When the sun began to set, they all gathered around Chef as he pulled out his guitar. Together, they sang songs, their voices echoing through the trees until it was time to say goodbye. And so life went on in the cozy kitchen between towering trees. And Tiny Chef, the littlest chef, continued to spread joy and happiness to everyone around him. He never forgot the importance of friendship and kindness, and he always remembered to look for the hearts in every day.